Hey guys, Alex from Happy Haiku here, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my branded Despia deck list. This is pre-structured deck, and I played this at locals primarily because I wanted to get a feel for the Despia combo lines and kind of feel how they play and get a feel for them, start memorizing them a bit. I can tell you that this deck will become a lot stronger when the next structured deck, which is Albaz Strike, releases at the end of this week. Branded Fusion is a bonkers card, and I can say that this list will change a little bit from when that structure deck is released. Primarily, the extra deck will have a Libelian, Albions, and a Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. And the main deck will also have probably either a Dark Magician or a Hex Light Sealed fusion substitute. So that way we can easily go into that turn one Red Eyes Dark Dragoon without having to actually use Red Eyes Fusion, which is insane. Hopefully can try that out at my locals next week when the structure deck is finally in my hands. But for now, I'm going to go through my pre-structure deck Despia list, and I hope you guys enjoy. Leave comments down below if you think there's anything that I missed or anything that can make the deck better. But let's start off with the true MVP of the deck, which is Aluber. Aluber is such a great opening card, and I'm only playing two because I don't have my third yet. Definitely waiting for the Ghost of the Past reprint that will happen at the end or the beginning of next month. Definitely recommend having three in your deck, but since they're so inflated in price at the moment, probably going to hold off on that third one till the Ghost of the Past come out. But this deck is basically your opener that gets you into any branded fusion card, and even without branded fusion, just being able to open, go into branded in red or go into the theater of the branded is really great and can get you really much started. On top of that, we're playing the free Despian Tragedy. Now this card is also basically another Aluber, so you can ditch this card to the graveyard, and there's many spell cards in our deck that allow us to ditch to the graveyard. And also you could banish this, and it would trigger an effect that allows you to tutor up a Despian monster. In this case, we'd be aiming for most of the time, 80% of the time, probably Aluber, and bringing that into our hand so we could summon that out and get the effect. So this card is basically, by extension, another Aluber. So very good. You should play the free. Definitely one of the pivotal cards of the Despia combo line. We play the one Ad Libitum. Ad Libitum is not something you want to see in your opening hand. You probably want to see it more towards the end of turn 3. It's more for the grind game than anything else, and it's still necessary to play, and it allows you to extend further as the game goes into grind time, into longer time. So I definitely would say 1 is the right number for this. I wouldn't play 2. And then also for a bit of the spice is Dramaturge. Dramaturge, his effect is nutty. Fusioning him off allows you to special summon him, so you basically have a 3000 attack beta on the field just for using him to fusion summon, which happens a lot of the time. And it's not just fusion to graveyard. If you banish fusion, you also can summon him. So whether you use a normal fusion effect or use an effect similar to like Branded in red, or Libellion's effect to, Branded, Albion the Branded's effect to banish from graveyard or hand to fusion summon, he can still be summoned from the banish zone, which is insane. So, but he's not so good that you have to play multiple. So 1 is probably the best for Dramaturge. Fallen of Albaz is in this deck. I've added 2 Fallen of Albaz. Fallen of Albaz can be great going second, but at the moment, since I don't have too many targets for him in extra deck, it's not been optimal to have him in my opening hand. But it's really good going second, especially when you couple that with 2 incredible Ecclesia. I have 3. And when the Branded Fusion card comes out, I'll probably play all 3, especially since there's more targets for Fallen Albaz fusions. But at the moment, I'm just playing 2 Fallen Albaz and 2 Ecclesia. I'll bump that up to 3 Ecclesia in less than a week's time. But for now, this performs really good going second. Allowed me to contact fusion using Fallen Albaz. I most of the time just went into Titaniklad, just so I could have a heavy beat on the field. And sometimes that's all you really need to win game. So played that just to get a feel for it, but it's not as optimal as if we have Branded Fusion. Branded Fusion allows us to send that Fallen Albaz, send the fusion material, and just get a free summon on the field. If, for example, Fallen Albaz and Dark Magician are your targeted materials, you can get the Albion, the Branded Dragon, or Libellion, and just use the same 2 materials to create a Red Eyes Dark Dragoon for free. So that's going to be insane when Branded Fusion comes out. Okay, and let's talk about hand traps now. Hand traps are very important. Allow us to pretty much play for a lot of these tougher decks. So going first is Ash Blossom of the Joy Spring. I play 3 of those. You need to play the free. I feel like it closes off a lot of the decks that pretty much abuse the draw from deck, and even in the mirror match, it's going to be very important come in the future when we play against other fusion decks. It's going to be very important to ash that branded fusion card as soon as you see it, and very good card to have. Ghost Ogre, important right now, especially as there's so much adventure tokens out there, especially if you're playing in more competitive locals like I do. So definitely the Ghost Ogre to target that faithful adventure. I would even play Ghost Bell as a 1 or 2 of in main deck if you really want to get more competitive against the adventure token. But for now, this seems to do enough to slow down the adventure token game. And 2 Nibiru, because Nibiru is pivotable and you need your Nibirus to win games, especially. But what I found in this deck, since I'm not playing Infinite Impermanence, the Nibiru sometimes did not work, and playing 2 of is fine because you don't want to see it that often anyway. But if you really wanted to make Nibiru active, you need Nibiru in your hand plus an Infinite Impermanence or Infect Veiler. So I'd probably have to look at trying to figure out how to fit in that to my deck, or just maybe not playing the Nib and just trying to go for a game with Super Polys. I don't know. It's pretty interesting. So Nib wasn't as impressive for me, the locals lately. So let's go into spells. Branded Opening, which is your tutoring for Despia monsters. Definitely need to play the free of. This is basically like having another free Alubers. And it allows you to special summon Aluber as well, so that can get you away from the normal summon. So all together with the Despian Tragedies and the Alubers, you have potentially 9 ways to get Aluber if you're playing the free Alubers. I only play 2, so this is 8 ways for me. Okay. The next most important card is Branded in Red. I play 3 of, which is the right ratio for this deck list, but I'll be dropping it to 2 when Branded Fusion comes out. Branded Fusion will be much more something you want to open with, and Branded Red can be, you can tutor it with Aluber if you really need to, so dropping it to 2 seems the right thing to do when the new structure deck comes out. But this card allowing you to fusion summon in your opponent's turn, grab a card from graveyard, and you don't even have to. So you can grab a Despian or Fallen Albaz from a graveyard, send it to your hand, and then fusion summon, and you don't have to fusion summon with that card you got from graveyard, which is impressive. So if you need to get a Aluber for next turn, you can do that, and then just fusion summon with the other cards on the field or in your hand. It's amazing. So Branded in Red is a very slept on card. It's going to be amazing, and definitely going to be playing that when the new structure deck comes out as well. Now I've also added in the Frightfur package because Guardian Chimera is broken at the moment and really gives you a lot of advantage for how much it costs. So we're playing the free Edge Imp. Edge Imp is pretty much your best value card to send to the graveyard as well, other than Despian Tragedy. 2 Frightfur Patchwork, which allows you to tutor up your Polymerization and an Edge Imp. And usually like that allows you to go straight into Guardian Chimera most of the time. So there's a lot of card value here. So I definitely play that Edge Imp Guardian Chimera tutoring engine. Would recommend playing that as well when the full structure deck comes out as well. Super Polys, play 3 of them. These are just great because we have so many Super Poly targets in our extra deck, and definitely something I'd recommend playing 3 of, even when the new deck comes out. So found this was very much pivotable and allowed me to win the many games. Yeah, Super Poly's great. Can't say much else about it. Okay, and then we play our Fusion Destiny package, because right now we don't have all the branded fusion cards, so I thought having extra value into the form of the Destiny Hero Enforcer cards worked, and it did work. I just didn't need it as much. Most of the time I was winning just on the Despian cards alone, but it was nice to see Fusion Destiny in hand every now and then, and it's always good to have an option to go into Destiny Hero Enforcer, so good to put it in the deck. Okay, and now the one-offs. Foolish Burial. Very good card. It allows you to send your Despian Tragedy to the graveyard, and so you can activate that without even committing a summon. Golden Sarcophagus, similar action. You can banish your Despian Tragedy. Despian Tragedy triggers off banish or send to graveyard, so very good to have both of those in your deck. Some people say don't play the Gold Sarcophagus, but I think it's pretty good. And then Call by the Grave allows you to get through that pesky Ash, continue your plays. Despia Feeder of the Branded, which in itself is a really good card as well. So This is most of the time, I actually want to discard in my opening hand as well because it allows you to get into your first Masquerade, the Blazing Dragon, and then Brandon Red will allow you to get the second one in your opponent's turn. So if you're playing the combo line well, you'll be able to get two Masquerade before they even commit their first action on their turn, which is great if you're going first. And then the one Monster Reborn, which is just a good all-around extender, allows you to get their monster special summon it from their graveyard, or if you want to get back one of your fusion monsters, you can do that as well. Very good card overall, so I would recommend the Monster Reborn as a good extender, but probably will remove that when the new deck comes out in the future. Same with the Destiny Hero Enforcer package, again, not something necessary, but at the moment, since we don't have much options, it's pretty much something I wanted to play. Alright, extra deck time, let's go. First up is the 2 Masquerade the Blazing Dragon. If you can play free, play free. This is actually a really great card. I guess resolving 2 of them on your first turn, or one of them on your first turn, and then the other one in your opponent's standby phase is really great. Especially if they play Adventure Token. If you have 2 on the field, they have to commit to wasting 7,200 life points before they can even use the effect of the effect to negate using the Griffin, and then by using that Griffin effect, they commit themselves to being lethal. So very good. So definitely play 2 of, and it's going to be most of the time the 2 opening fusions you aim for. I also played the Despian Proskenion, which is a very good Super Poly target, surprisingly. I was Super Polying that more than actually summoning it using Branded Red. And it turned out to be very pivotal in those Super Poly situations. It's Despian Quaeritis. Yeah, the effect to be able to make all the opponent's non-fusion monsters 0 attack and just swing over for game. Yep, this card slept on and it needs to be played. It's a necessity. Guardian Chimera, which is your Frightfur package target. Play 2 of if you can. I only have the one that I pulled, so and the price is starting to go up to an unmanageable amount. But if you have 2, play 2 because this is a really good card. It gives you so much value, net value when you play it. You can either get like more draws or get rid of more cards on the field depending on how you choose to summon it. So it's a very powerful card. Guardian Chimera is like the MVP at the moment until Branded Fusion is released. And I think we'll go through our Super Poly targets. We play the Gilti-Gearfried, which is a really good against other DPE users, and you need 2 warrior monsters, but it comes up very often. I guess that's the one I would say is a flexi spot. If you wanted to, you could change that out and change it to a for example, a Prank Kids Rocket Ride, which is really good if you have a locals or have a tournament. A lot of people playing Brave Prank Kids, so I would swap these 2 out. But right now, no one plays Prank Kids in my area, so I don't play that, and I play Guilty instead. We also play the Mudragon, the Starving Venom Dragon, and the Predaplant Dragonstepelia, I think it's called Dragonstepelia. So these are really good targets for your Super Poly and end up sometimes winning games on their own. So it's very good to play these. All 4 of these are very good. Again, the Guilti-Gearfried is just that flexi spot that you can take out for anything that's anti-local hate or meta hate. So my Albion targets, or my Albaz targets, sorry, the Titaniklad and the Brigrand, the Glory Dragon. So these 2 are my only Fallen Albaz targets at the moment because there's no combo line with Branded Fusion, and I'm only ever just playing Fallen Albaz from the hand or using Ecclesia. And these, most of the time I just go into Titaniklad because it hits very hard. But sometimes it comes up where I need to play the second Albaz into Brigrand, so I play 2 targets at the moment. Definitely going to change for when the Albaz structure deck comes out, but for now this seems like the right 2 to play. Of course, the Destiny Hero Enforcer, because Destiny Hero is oppressive. It can sometimes win a game on its own, and so definitely playing that. And that's it for the fusions. We play for links, 1 Relinquished Anima. This is just if you have a really bricked hand, but you do have a Despian Tragedy. You can play the Despian Tragedy, link it off into Relinquished Anima, hopefully also taking an opponent's monster and equipping it for added benefit. And then you can trigger the effect of Despian Tragedy in the grave to continue on and combo off. You might, if you didn't draw into a Aluber or any other kind of spell, you probably will be able to have at least 1 fusion card in your hand, and as long as you tutor an Albion or tutor a Despian card, you'll be able to combo off from there. Dark is amazing. Most people have really broken dark monsters at the moment, so being able to target one from the graveyard and summon it to your field is sometimes pivotal to winning a match. And of course the Predaplant, because if everything goes wrong, you can still get your DPE out, which is very, very fun. So definitely recommend playing that for now until the branded fusion card comes out. Okay, and let's go into side deck. This is important because I really want to touch on these two cards here. Crossout Designator and Ghost Spell. If I had free Crossout Designator, I would play free Crossout Designator and the Ghost Spell. Why this is important? Ghost Spell kind of is our worst hand trap. If people play this, we're basically offline, and we probably lose a whole turn based on this. So Ghost Spell can stop a lot of our fusion cards, because branded fusion cards kind of like use the graveyard a lot to tutor out their monsters and summon their monsters. So by playing the one Ghost Spell and as many crossouts as you have, you can basically shut down, hopefully, someone else's Ghost Spell, declare its name, and then continue playing and combo off like crazy. So I definitely recommend this as an idea for a side deck tech when you're building Albaz, even when the structure deck comes out. So definitely look at that as an option. Artifact lands here free of, because in my locals, at least, a lot of people need to have their banish to be able to play the decks. Dragonlings need their banish, Flunderies even needs their banish, so a lot of times that shuts off a lot of decks, and it's good to have in your side deck. The Nibiru, so that's the third one, and a lot of the time you want to play the third Nibiru against like combo heavy decks or base, so I was always siding this in against based, and that's just allowed me to activate that and make sure that I had an answer for their many summons. Token Collector here. Token Collector is an amazing card in a lot of decks. If I had more, I'd probably pay free Token Collectors, because Based right now dies to Token Collector. A lot of other 10-year style decks and Sword decks use tokens, and you can shut them off with just this card. And then the OP, the best hand trap of all, is a Frangria Gamma and Driver. And I was thinking about mainboarding this because it allows you to kind of like, for example, if you open a fusion card and use it straight from your hand, you can pretty much, if they try and deny you that fusion card, for example, if you try to Super Poly, you can drop the Gamma and basically get that free, summon, as well as, cancelling the hand trap or whatever they use to stop you from being able to use your fusion card. I think this will be mainboarded when I get the branded fusion card, because having a Gamma in hand and a branded fusion is basically full combo, and they can't do anything about it because you have the Gamma in hand. So definitely think about mainboarding that when Albaz structure deck comes out, so think about it. Okay, and for spell hate, I have 2 Cosmic Cyclone, 1 Twin Sister, and a Harpy Silver Duster, just for those pesky decks that like a lot of back row and can be very annoying to beat. Eldritch. Okay, well, that's it for my deck list, guys. Hope you enjoyed. It's pretty fun. I definitely did enjoy playing it at locals. I don't think it's competitive yet. Wait till the structure deck comes out in a few more days from now. I think it's literally like 4 days away. And then you'll be able to actually experience the full potential of this deck with those slight changes to your main deck and extra deck. But this was very fun to play, and if anyone wants to play Despia pure without having the structure deck, then this is probably a good deck list to follow, and just fun all around. Alright guys, thank you for watching. This has been Happy Haiku. See you guys next time.